Yo guys, what's going on? It is Catman227 here, and I am back with another Warframe review, and today we are going back. I've already done this Warframe before, but we're going to revisit him again. This is Loki Prime. Now, more specifically, I did the review on normal Loki, so if you want to go and check that out, please do. But this is going to be more like a revisit. I'm using all the Prime upgrades of the same weapons that I used in the normal review now that I have them. So, but Loki was not a Warframe that impressed me the first go around. But the real question is, did he impress me the second time? Let's find out. So, essentially, Loki has a few abilities that make him pretty useful in certain situations. For example, his passive ability. He is being the most, well, I wouldn't say the fastest, but probably the second fastest Warframe in the game. But when it comes to default sprint speed, I would say he's definitely the fastest Warframe in the game. Volt, with the exception of Volt, because Volt is able to use his speed ability, which allows him to, go faster. But, that's an ability. If we're talking about default running speed, Loki's definitely the fastest. Now, he could also bypass certain areas by using Switch Teleport. Now, that's going to be the first one we're going to go over because I need to show you that one first before I can actually go over his first ability. So now, Switch Teleport, all it does is it switches places with you and an enemy. And while the enemy, when you Switch Teleport, he looks around, and he gets a little dazed and confused and doesn't know what's happening. And then that gives you a free shot to kill him. Now, I showed you this ability first because it works in great combination with his first ability called Decoy. Now, Decoy, essentially, you put it down, and then all the enemies will flock to it instead. It gives you a perfect window opportunity to kill them all while they're distracted with it instead of you. So, now that I'm running the primed version, it's using Lex Prime, and you cannot change this with any mods or any sort of loadout. He is stuck using Lex Prime, and it only does 1 damage per shot. Basically, just enough to distract the enemies to get it to come to it. It doesn't do any amount of damage, and I don't think Power Strength can make that damage go up any higher than it already is. It does 1 damage per shot, and I think it does like slash and puncture procs as well, but even still. Now, the reason why I put that out first is because you can actually use Switch Teleport on your Decoy. Now, why this is good is, let's say you're really bad at parkour. Okay, you can simply cast the ability to a higher ledge, teleport to it, and there you are. So, it's a pretty useful ability when it comes to that. Now, it also is a great combination with his third ability, Invisibility. Now, Invisibility, you simply just go invisible, and it silences all your weapons. And if you have his mod augment, it allows you to silence 100% all of your weapons. So basically, you can run around with a grenade launcher mixed with a shotgun and be completely silent. And it will not trigger the alarms. So, that is unless they spot you, which, it's not like Ivara's where you can stay invisible forever, as long as you have energy. Loki's essentially is, it's temporary. Obviously, it's temporary, so once the duration runs out, you will become uninvisible again, and they will spot you. Hence why you take out all the enemies as quickly as you can. But that's where Decoy comes in, so basically you can use it in a triple combo. For example, you put it down, you go invisible. Now, while all of the enemies are around your Decoy, they can't see you and they think this is you. So you simply just kill all of them once they surround it. If I can find a good choke point here. Where's an area with a bunch of enemies? Okay, here we go. Invisibility. Decoy. Hey! Hey, you come back here. Well, you get the idea. I can't really show a demonstration because the enemies are not cooperating with me, but... Now, here we go. Okay, they all surround it, thinking that it's you, and then while you're invisible, you just kill them all. But I got knocked over, so it didn't work. But you get the idea. Now, one of the best abilities in the entire game is from Loki, and that's Radial Disarm. Now, Radial Disarm basically disarms all enemies and turns them into melee units. Now, why this is good is because they have to come to you in order to kill you. Now, you can basically use a quadruple combo with Loki. So, essentially what you can do is you put this down, you use radial disarm, you go invisible, you put down your disguise, and they all have to run up to it. Then once they're all surrounded, then you just simply kill them all and they can't shoot because they have no guns because you took it away from them. So, it's a great little combo. I use it all the time, and since if you have Loki Prime, he'll have tons and tons of energy. So if you get the primed version, he has a lot more energy at his disposal, and he gains a lot more energy as well. So if you just take a bunch of melee units, which you can easily turn into, you do this, and then you do this. Now all of them have no guns, and they can all run up to your decoy, and they will have to melee it. So while all this is happening, you can just kill all of them. So it's one big slaughter fest, and Loki is one of the best frames in the game just for that reason. Of course, you have to have strong weapons because, you know, obviously this ability doesn't really work on the infested, except it does work on the ancient healers as well. And if you have the mod augment for this ability, it will do double the damage, so it will actually damage them as well as take away their weapons. So it's pretty freaking sweet. Now, you know those pesky little ancient healers that will throw a little arm at you, grab you by your leg, and pull you to the ground and pull you to them into a big crowd of enemies? Well, not anymore. If you use radial disarm on them, they can no longer do that to you. So that's why it is absolutely essential for you to have this ability and the mod augment for it, because it will help you out tremendously. Now, personally though, what I would suggest you run with is an energy siphon mod, because that will allow you to have way more combo counters, and you'll be able to use this combo so much. Energy siphon, and that I would also have rage on as well, because rage will essentially, every time you take damage to your health, it will replace it with energy. So if you do 100 if 100 damage is done to your health, then you will be given 100 energy. So it's quite good in that regard. So quick thinking is also a mod you might want to invest in as well for Loki, and it's quite good. Now there is a mod augment for his first ability as well, and that's whenever you put it down, if it's active and you take fatal damage, it will automatically switch places. So for example, let's say you're going into a crowd of enemies at low health. What you can do is you can place it right here, okay? Then you can go into a big crowd of enemies, and if you take fatal damage, you will then be teleported back to your clone. So that way you don't have to worry about dying. So if you get really low on health, it'll just teleport you back, which is why it's great to have a lot of duration. Because the more duration you have, the longer you'll be able to stay invisible. Range increases the range, obviously, of his fourth ability, Radial Disarm, so you can disarm more enemies if you have more range. Duration also affects the duration of your decoy and your invisibility, so you'll be able to do that for longer. And range also affects the switch teleport, so you can switch teleport with enemies and your decoy for way farther distance than you used to. Now, they did rework Loki a little bit. A lot of people were pissed off at the fact that people could troll you because other warframes, you used to be able to use switch teleport on other warframes. So, but for example, if let's say there was another player, you could actually take another player and teleport him, like switch places with him and teleport him into a group of enemies, and then he would die. They since changed that to where if you use switch teleport on an ally, like another player, all you do is get teleported to that person. So you no longer have that thing where, oh, like let's say this guy's a player, okay, like I'm gonna teleport you into a big group of enemies, and then now you're dead. Now, if I can test him on this guy, see, I just teleported to him, and it... There you go. So if I... Actually, wait. See, yeah, you just teleport to him, and you don't switch places with him. You just teleport to him. You don't switch places, which is fantastic because it stops people from getting pissed off. So... It actually will help you more than... Because it's like... Now you can teleport to your allies and get out of danger instead of you getting out of danger and they're in danger. So it works out good for both sides, I guess. Now, there is another thing I wanted to talk about. Radial Disarm, I believe, used to work on bosses, but it was since changed. So now it doesn't work on bosses, but yet sometimes it does. Like, of course, none of your abilities will work on the Stalker at all. Like, there's no ability that will work on the Stalker. But I've seen people use it on the Goose Rag 3 and some other bosses where you can use Radial Disarm on them. But I don't really know exactly what or when they changed it. So, I don't know. It's really weird. But I think that's all I have time for this video, guys. If you guys have enjoyed, please leave a like, please comment, please subscribe, and let me know which Warframe you want to see next. So, I will catch you guys in the next Warframe review. Goodbye.